Hey guys, welcome back. I just want to talk for a couple minutes today about a question that has been coming up a lot lately with my clients and with other people that I talk to about this whole notion of being with the feelings, feeling the feelings, sitting with them, and leaning into them even. And the question that I get so often is, well, how? How do I sit with feelings that I hate? How do I sit with feelings of shame, anger, guilt, frustration, insecurity, fear, sadness? How? How is that possible to sit in something that feels inherently awful and constricting? And I get it, right? We've been conditioned in Western culture, well, most human culture, we've been conditioned to either push those feelings down, set them aside, distract from them, numb them. We've been given all kinds of tools to not feel. And they have seemed to work until they just don't work anymore. And the feelings keep wanting to be felt. And I think there is such an intelligence and a wisdom in the fact that they come around. And whatever it is you're distracting with starts to lose its effectiveness. Or whatever you're using to numb the feelings, that starts to lose its effectiveness, or you need more and more of the numbing. And I think there's so much intelligence in that because feelings just, for lack of a better phrase, want to be felt. If energy in the form of a feeling is coming through you, it's ready to be felt. And when it's coming up, as far as I can see, it's because you are ready to feel it. So how do you feel it? How do you lean into a feeling? I think, there's no clear-cut answer. It's sort of like teaching someone to ride a bike. You can't just give them a sheet of paper and say, go do it. It's more of a guiding. If you've ever taught a child to ride a bike, you know how you hold their shoulders and you kind of help them get that feeling in their body of, oh, this is what balance feels like. This is what stability feels like. It's a feeling in the body more than an intellectual grasping. That's how leaning into feelings is. This isn't for your mind. This is not for your intellect. So for those of you out there who are very logic-minded and task-oriented, you can set that aside because none of this is going to be for that adorable intellect of yours. This is a feeling you're going to get in the body. Just like when you're learning to ride a bike or even really driving a car. When you're first learning, you've got to get the feel. What does it feel like to round a corner? What does it feel like to accelerate or put on the brake? It's a sensation. It's a feeling. It's a knowing. So what I want to suggest, first of all, is I'm not asking you, and anyone who suggests that you lean into a feeling or sit with a feeling. No one is asking you to sit or lean into a story that your mind has created. So for example, a couple days ago, I woke up with what I would have described as just this deep, icky feeling of insecurity. So the feeling of insecurity was coming up. Every mind, my mind included, has to attach meaning. That's what it does. Minds attach meaning. They're meaning-making machines. So as soon as a feeling arises, in my case, a feeling of insecurity, and it felt tight and constricted, my mind had to pin it on something. So then the mind starts going into, was it the nightmare I had last night? Was it the fact that someone didn't email me back that I was expecting? Was it the way my husband looked at me this morning that made something feel off? The mind has to pin a feeling on something. And that's where we kind of get into some trouble, and that's where the suffering is. So I want to suggest I kind of picture like I'm helping you ride the bike. I'm picturing this as like a handhold, or me with my hands gently on your shoulders to give you a little bit of guidance into feeling into this for yourself. So when a feeling is coming up, and they do, you're human, you're going to have the whole gamut, everything from elation to devastation and everything in between during this lifetime. That's being human. So our job cannot be to hold certain feelings at bay. That is going to feel awful. We want to have the full experience of being alive, and that includes all the highs and the lows. But what we don't have to do is buy into the stories that our mind, very creative and very compelling mind, makes up about the feeling. So in my case, when the feeling of insecurity, it was just an icky, awful, very pervasive feeling of insecurity that came up, I think it was Monday, I simply noticed my mind doing what a mind does. Attaching meaning to what the insecurity is from, and then what the insecurity means about me and my life and my future and my worth. And I set that aside, and I just went to the actual feeling. And this is sort of how I process it. And you can play around with this and see how it is for you to process the actual feeling without all the drama your mind wants to attach to it. So what I do when I feel the feeling and I see the drama playing out in my head is I simply identify, oh, there's insecurity here. Insecurity wants to be felt. And then I just go into the body. Where do I feel the insecurity? And the mind will keep jumping in. No, I want to play. I want to get in on the action. And it'll say, you feel insecurity because of this. No. Thank you, mind. There's just simply insecurity. There's a feeling of insecurity arising, like a cloud passing through the sky. And you're the blue sky. And the blue sky does not mind when the storm cloud passes through. So look at the feeling cleanly, not with the extra baggage of a creative, dramatic mind. And simply, what is the feeling that's passing through? What is the feeling that wants to be felt? So in my case, insecurity is here. There's some insecurity. Insecurity wants to be held, honored, looked at, not to figure out, not to make it go away, but just simply, insecurity has come to visit. It can be honored, it can be held, it can be welcomed. I can say hello to it and not push it away. I can see that it's not personal. It's not about me and my life and my decisions and my future and my past. That is all made up story and imagination, even if it's very compelling. So as you play with this idea of leaning into or sitting with feelings that want to be felt, maybe begin by letting the drama and the extra baggage that your mind is creating, let that set aside and just simply let this be a clean look at the feeling. There is insecurity here. Insecurity has come to visit, to be held and honored. It can stay as long as it needs to stay. It's only the story that says, if I have insecurity, I can't X, Y, and Z. That's a story that the compelling, meaning-making, adorable mind is making up. So I'm never asking my clients or anyone else when I say, lean into the feeling, get to know the feeling, sit down and have a Starbucks with the feeling. I'm never saying stay with the story. The story can be whatever the story wants to be about your past and future and what this means about you. Let that play out. And just stay with the actual, clean, undramatized feeling itself. Insecurity's here. Insecurity has come for a visit. Where do I feel it in my body? For me, it's in my throat usually. Occasionally in my chest area. Every once in a while, I'll feel insecurity in my belly. but I feel it. I notice it. I send it some love, some compassion. I let it know that it's safe to be here, just like a storm cloud in the blue sky. The blue sky has no preference for beautiful cirrus clouds over some big giant cumulonimbus clouds. That's how we are, the blue sky. So when grief or shame or guilt or any of the tighter feelings, the energetic feeling of those feelings of sadness or anger, when those arise, the mind will tell a story about why and what it means. But just let that aside and see if you can say hello to the actual feeling itself. Honor it, give it some love and some compassion. Let it know that it's safe to move through you. See if you can play with it. I'd love to know how this helps or doesn't help, or if you need a little bit more of that training wheel, hand on the shoulder, I'd be happy to help you. Always feel free to reach out through my website or through email if you already have my email address. I'm always happy to talk more with anyone about these kinds of things. And I'll put everything you need in the show notes below. And if you haven't had a chance yet, hit subscribe so you'll be notified the next time a video comes out. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.